powerful story today. It's all about what happens when your back is completely against the wall, and the only thing you have left is just the will to try one more time. This is a story of Arav. So right away, here's the core of the problem, right? On one side, you've got these massive, world-changing dreams, but on the other, you have his reality, a small village, a life that felt incredibly limited. And it's in this huge gap between who he wanted to be and where he was, well, that's where our story begins. So how did he even begin to deal with this? Let's start with the incredible pressures he was facing from the outside, and then we'll get to this quiet but, really powerful little flame inside him that just refused to go out. And to really get his struggle, you have to understand the level of hardship we're talking about. This wasn't just about being poor. This was a day-in, day-out fight for the most basic thing you can imagine, food. That was the ground floor of his reality. And if the physical struggle wasn't enough, there was this constant wall of negativity. Just imagine hearing that every single day. It's the kind of thing that's designed to make your world smaller, to make you believe that where you come from is where you'll end up. This was the chorus of voices Arav was up against. But this right here is the whole key. Against all of that noise from the outside, he had this one quiet little thing he'd tell himself. It wasn't some grand speech, just a simple promise. Just one more try. And that little phrase, it became his shield. It became his fuel. It was the spark that kept him moving when everything else was screaming at him to just stop. So that internal fire, it pushed him to do something huge. He leaves his village for the city. And as you can probably guess, the challenges and the stakes were about to get a whole lot higher. His new life, honestly, had no room for anything but work and ambition. All day long, it was grueling, back-breaking labor that pushed his body to the absolute limit. And then at night, when he should have been recovering, he was pushing his mind, just poring over his books. It was this brutal, non-stop cycle. And time just started to blur. This wasn't for a week or two. This was a long, draining stretch of his life, where every single day was pretty much the exact same exhausting battle. And you can't live like that forever. That kind of lifestyle has a cost. The fatigue, both physical and mental, it wasn't just resetting every morning. It was piling up. He was carrying the weight of all the days before, and every new day just added to the pile. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter how strong you are, everybody has a limit. And this is the moment where Arav finally hits his. And all that doubt he'd been fighting for so long, it finally broke through the walls he built. For the very first time, he started to actually believe those voices from his past. It was this moment of just total despair, where all his hard work suddenly felt like it was for nothing. So there he was, totally isolated, sitting all by himself on a rooftop, high above the city that was supposed to be his dream, but now it just felt huge and empty and like it didn't care at all. And this was so different from all the other times he'd been knocked down. Before, he'd always found a way to get back up. But now, for the first time, you could see it in his eyes. The fire inside him was almost completely out. He was on the very edge of giving up for good. But right then, just as he hits rock bottom, something clicks. A memory comes back to him, and it changes everything. This is the real turning point of the whole story. In that moment of absolute hopelessness, he remembers something his father told him. It's so simple, but it cuts right through all the noise. It doesn't promise he'll succeed. It doesn't pretend it won't hurt. It just asks for one thing. One more push before you walk away. And you can just feel the shift inside him. He takes his father's words, and he makes them his own. It's not just advice anymore. It's a promise to himself. He's not trying to be strong forever. He's just focusing every last bit of energy he has on this one single final try. And that became his entire world. The exhaustion, the pain, the doubt. He just pushed it all to the side. His focus narrowed down to one singular thing. All that mattered was this last push. And his mantra? It changed. The hopeful, just one more try became this fierce, absolute demand. I have to win. Hope was gone. It was replaced by pure, uncut determination. And so, after that final, all-or-nothing, desperate push, we finally get to see if one last attempt was actually enough. And there it was. All those days of hard labor, all those sleepless nights, that one terrible moment of despair on the rooftop, it all led right here. He had passed. He had actually done it. And his win, it wasn't just for him. The boy that everyone said couldn't do it, the one who wasn't built for success, he didn't just prove them wrong, he shattered their expectations. He became an inspiration for everyone back home. And that's really the heart of his entire journey, isn't it? It boils everything down. That line between giving up and achieving your dream can be so thin. Sometimes it's just the decision to try one more time when you feel like you have absolutely nothing left in the tank. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Arav's story kind of redefines what a breaking point is. Instead of it being the end of the road, what if it's the actual starting line? The moment where, when you're stripped of everything else, your most powerful, most focused effort finally shows up. It really makes you think, what does one last attempt look like for you?